Here we are. Well, bueno, hola a todos, bienvenidos a este Q&A de la película Ferguson. Mi nombre es Juan Manuel Domínguez y estoy con el director Bob Python. Hi, Bob.
Hola, ¿qué tal? Buenos días.
Muy buenos días a vos. The first question I wanted to do to you, Bob, was about the story, about how you guys. I read that you created this story with Kaylee, the actress, and I want to know what was the starting point for you guys for this particular story.
That's a good question. The starting point was she was in a bad relationship. That was the starting point of the comedy. And it was only later that we decided to make her into a teacher who was having an affair with a student. That came later.
What will you think that came up later? No, why it didn't come out at the beginning, just the why that particular thing is so important in the movie and why you guys think you come up with something like that to make the movie go.
For the teacher or for the bad relationship?
For the teacher, for the thing that actually got her into prison. And
well, I wanted to make a movie that was from the inside out about one of the teachers, not outside in, inside out. So I wanted to make a comedy that was about her internal condition and how she saw the world. And that was, leaving aside a lot of what we impose upon the teachers when we read about them, because they're very popular stories. I wanted to take the story from inside out.
At the same time, I do think, I don't know if that's a game for you or for you guys behind the movie, but I do think it's a movie that, in a way, treats things about the world in such a fantastic way. I mean, it talk about what it's like being in prison. It talk about what it's like being in a marriage. It talks a lot about the nonsense of some rules or some things that you have to do to live in civilization. And I think you guys managed to create this dry, fantastic take on that. Maybe I'm wrong, but
no, it is fantastic. It's a great film, and we did an amazing job. I agree.
And I want to talk about your comedy, Bob. I want to talk, after so many movies like this one, Seven Chinese Brothers, Infinity Baby, Somebody Up There Likes Me, how would you define your sense of comedy? And in which way do you think it works in your different movies?
That's a good question. I'm working on a new script, and someone asked me what it was about, and I said, well, I don't know what it's about, but I think it's about how I don't think I'm an asshole, but I am an asshole. And so the comedy in the new script comes from that tension between me thinking I'm one thing and me being another thing. And I know that we showed Somebody Up There Likes Me in Argentina, and I think that the audiences were really attracted to just a different idea, just like not quite reality that was going on in the film. And we were able to set up a world for them to kind of enjoy. And for example, in that film, the character treats his marriage and marriages, divorces, funerals, they're all the same to him. Like there's no the wedding isn't fun and the funeral sad. It's the same to him. And that was kind of an accident. I just wrote the script that way, not intentionally, but it just happened. And I think audiences are attracted to the movies not quite being reality, but setting up their own worlds because maybe people suspect that a marriage and a divorce is the same. I mean, maybe deep down we all suspect it's the same. I don't know.
No, I wouldn't know either. But I think that's something that really comes through in the movies, like this sort of. Would you say that this sort of asshole, not an asshole take on the world is in a lot of your movies, or?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, sorry.
With Frances Ferguson, I mean, she's we've read a lot of reviews about her being a like detestable character, like she's unhappy and she's mean and she's like all these things. And I didn't write her that way. I just wrote her as unhappy. All the other stuff came from her just not being content. And so it's funny to read like she's a detestable character, she's mean, she's awful. And to me, she's just not happy.
Yeah, that's really something that is in the movie. I don't think she's a detestable character. I mean, I'm not here to say that, but I don't think she's a character to hate. I think what you hate is the world around her. So in this duality that we're talking about, the asshole, not an asshole equation, what would you say is the funny side of that? I mean, the contrast when being an asshole, we're stepping to not being an asshole. What would you say in that equation is the funny part?
I don't know, just the tension between who we think we are and who we are.
And how would you define your movies, Bob? Because you have so many movies and they are so powerful, and you have worked with many of the same. You work with a few actors that you work all the time. And how would you define your comedy work? Because you have created one of the most powerful comedy works in America in the last 15 years. Sometimes people don't know about this, and they should. So, how would you define that work between the actor, the stories, and the way you create?
Well, we get an actor we like, then we try to keep him in the world of the movies because we know that he's or she's gonna like deliver the tone, and the tone of the movies does tend to gravitate towards something pretty specific. So like Kevin Corrigan, for example, he, without it being discussed or explained, he will carry the tone of the comedy. That's just what he does. And he does it much better than I could, I'm not going to have any luck explaining anything to him. He's going to do it much better than I could hope for just by knowing how to do it, And he's one of them, and Martin Starr is another one, and Kaylee, same thing. I didn't tell Kaylee to do anything. They just know what to do.
So you think this group of actors you work with, even though you say you keep them from movie to movie, they completely understand the way you work and the way you want to tell a story?
Even better than I do.
That's fantastic. What is your relationship with your movies? For example, this movie, you released it like a year and a half ago. How do you deal with your work in terms of a few years has passed?
When we premiered it at South by Southwest in March of 2019, and I was really unhappy with it. And then we finished it for Seattle in the summer of 2019. And by the time we finished it, I was happier with it, and it started to have a life. And now it's making its way in the world. It's building up an audience, and I'm happier with it. And but I was very unhappy at South by, and which is strange because you should be happy when you're premiering at a good film festival. And we just weren't done with it, and we needed to play it in front of an audience to figure out what it was about and to finish it. And it's unfortunate when you're doing that at South by Southwest because that's where you should have, you should be having fun and having a good experience with it, and it should be done, and it wasn't.
You want to talk a little bit about this one movie you're creating right now, or you prefer not to talk about it?
Well, yeah, we're working on it. It's, there's a pandemic, and so things are very slow, but we're working on it, and I like it. I like working on it. I'm kind of getting to a place where if I'm aware that I'm unhappy at work, I try to change something that's going on. Because I don't want to consciously be unhappy at work. Because I'm supposed to be like wanting to do this and enjoying it, right?
And that didn't used to be the case? Like you would have a bad time and still move forward with the creation of something?
Well, I think I was a little bit more energetic around work 10 years ago. I have less energy now, but I don't know. Everyone, like, you get older and you think you're getting better at your job, but you tend to not be. Like, not very many older filmmakers make good movies. So why is that?
I wouldn't know. And I want to ask you about this particular movie, about how you guys like have. I always wonder how you guys work when it comes to shooting different scenes, because it has such a fantastic tone, you know, like, and in a lot of scenes you have many people talking and many people understanding what you're going for. So I want to ask you, for example, the scenes you have in rehabilitation, which are really funny, but at the same time they're very crowded. So how do you guys work on that?
In what scenes?
In the rehabilitation scene, when she's talking to the group.
David, I mean, that actor, David Krumholtz, is brilliant, and he was able to kind of set that tone. I'm there to pay attention and to kind of conduct, you know, I'm like conducting, but he's the one who's the genius behind that. And I'm just so lucky that I got him, you know, to come in and do that, because he just creates, he's the one responsible for all that. We edit it and we pay attention, and I cast him and got him to come to Nebraska. But all of that is owed to him. He's phenomenal.
Perfect. Bob, I think we're done here. I think this is fantastic. What do you think?
I thought it was great.
Perfect. Let me stop this so we can talk.